Hooray, we're on the first assignment, and it is to create a turnaround image. So what that means is, if you look, there's a bunch of links here. A bunch of these are dead, I noticed. But if you go to the one that says Turnaround Model Sheets Pinterest post, I'm going to click on that. You can see this is what I'm looking for. So you can see a whole bunch of them. There's a lot of examples, so you can get an idea of what they look like. But all I'm going to look for personally is going to be this: a front view, a 3/4 view, and a profile view. The reason why we want those ones is because we can bring those directly into Maya and then use that as a guide to model our character, right? We can use those different orthographic views. So we can use that front and that profile view for the side and front view we can image planes, right? We also do want the 3/4 view because that is really what our goal is. Sometimes if you're in a production, they'll actually they will only give you the 3/4 view. And then you just have to use that, and then, through your own skill, just be able to figure out where the other things need to be. So you do need all three, just because when you are when you're watching a film or what have you, right, what you're going to be watching, most of the time the character's going to be in that 3/4 view. Very rarely do you see a character in a front or side view in a film. Obviously for games it's a little bit different, but usually they try to, they still try to block them that way. All right, so that's what the goal is. You're going to make this, and that is this week's assignment. All right. Before you go to do it, I would highly suggest you can look at some of these articles. This is the one that I would probably look at first. John Kay or whatever. He always says John Kay because I don't know how to say his last name. But basically, he was responsible for a lot of those early 90s animations, or at least he was one of the pioneers back then. He did Ren and Stimpy, if that is familiar to you or not. I don't know, it's probably a little bit before your time. But I would just read through this article. It's a relatively light read. You can see there's not a whole ton of reading. But just, it'll be good for you to be thinking about what you want to create, okay? Now, so read that article, and then you should get ready to do it. Now, if you want to create an original character, which most of the time that's usually what I want to do, what I would suggest is first just doing a bunch of exploratory sketches. Just get a sketchbook out, and you just do a bunch of just random drawings, just different versions of the character. The first thing you do, like I said, is those exploratory sketches. You want to create for your director or art director. You just want to create a buffet of options, and then that person will look at those drawings and go, I like the head on that one, I like the legs on this one, the proportion on this one is better, this one would be good, but the nose is too long, yada, yada, yada. Or I like where the direction that this one's going, make it a little bit more edgy, And then what you'll do is that you'll go back, you'll work on the drawings more, you'll bring them more that are closer to what they wanted, and then again, they'll make the same choices, and you just kind of reiterate that over and over again until you get a design that you're generally happy with. Once you know the design you want, then you would start making your turnaround sketch, okay? Now, if you already know, like, oh, I want to do the character from Teen Titan, or I want to do, DC character, right? I want to do Batman or something. That's fine. You can just be like, I'm just going to do that. You don't have to do a whole ton. You might want to do some just because, like Batman, there's a bunch of different iterations of. But if you know that's what you want to do, then once you have your sketches, what you're going to do is do the turnaround sketch, okay? Now, I know for some of you that you might be a little apprehensive because that's not something you're particularly skilled at, like drawing isn't really your thing. And quite frankly, if you were working in production, more than likely they would give you the drawings. You wouldn't have to make those yourself. It kind of depends on the size. Like if it's a smaller production, you might be doing both. If it's a larger production, they'll be just giving those anyways, and you'll just be modeling from those sketches. However, it's still a good idea to have that skill set to be able to draw, and it's like anything else. You just practice it a lot, and then you'll be able to, use it. It's just like writing or anything else. You want to have that ability to be able to communicate, and drawing is just another way of doing that. Don't think about it as like arty farty fine art stuff. It's a useful application. So for those of you that are not as comfortable, you're still gonna have to do this assignment regardless. But when you actually go to do your model, if you want to find, like, let's say you're going to do Batman, if you want to go online and find like the orthographic views or a nice turnaround sketch of Batman, you can go ahead and do that. All right, so you can have that and use that for the actual model. You still have to make your own sketches for this assignment, but if you want, you can go ahead and use those like next week when we actually start modeling and bring the image planes in. Just have those readily available. All right. And also, if you are doing something that's already a known, it's already a character that's already been done before, that's already created, then just grab a bunch of pictures of that character, and then you can kind of work from there. All right. So what you're going to be handing into me, though, is going to be just that turnaround sketch that you make, okay? Not somebody else. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this basically 2 ways, and you can choose whatever method you want, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 videos after this. One that's just going to discuss how to do it on paper. So if you want to just do it on paper and then just take a picture of it or scan it in. And one that's just, I'm going to do it directly digital inside of here, okay? So those are the general directions. The next 2 videos will be like how to make them. I'll try to really briefly go over how to make them in the beginning, and then I'll just go through and do it, so that way it's not super long videos, all right? Yeah, so see you in the next one.